This is Brian Lehrer Live, where web video meets the issues. This, in a nutshell, is the revolution in art that the internet offers. A world where painters wouldn't need patrons to survive, and the people could afford great art. We're not there yet, but one website is smashing the barriers to art collecting. It's an online gallery that sells limited editions at prices way below what you would expect to pay for an original work. The smallest size print is available in editions of 200 for $20 each. That's where the site got its name, 20 by 200. Its slogan, art for everyone. Here to tell us about 20 by 200 is founder and CEO Jen Beckman, and 20 by 200's Director of Business Development, Jonathan Melber. Welcome, both of you. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Tell us about the idea of this. This just isn't a supermarket for art. It's highly structured, and we're going to look at some images in just a second from the site, and you can talk through how it works. In fact, let's just bring up an image. Let's bring up an image over there and talk through what we're looking at and what it represents.
So that is the newsletter, which is the way that most people connect with the site for the first time. I introduce, each time we release an edition, I introduce it and talk about the artist and the work and contextualize it, both in terms of the art world at large, but also how I know the artist and why I connected with the work myself. And it's always very informal and kind of human, which is we try to make everybody feel like they can talk about art without having to know too much, just what you think is
And
cool.
what's the business model of 20 by 200?
Well, we follow the model of the art world in the sense that we split everything with the artist. So the traditional art world split is 50-50, and we do that as well. And it's a newsletter model in the sense that we have subscribers who are very active, and twice a week we release a new edition, a new image or two from one of the many artists that we work with.
So this is on a set schedule.
Yes.
That you release new works of art.
Right. And that way people know what they anticipate it, they know what to expect. We work with a whole range of artists, and sometimes with the better known artists, people will set their clocks ahead of time because we give them a heads up the day before.
To be one of the 200.
Yeah.
Let's see another slide. Can we go on to another so that we can see another example? Or in the meantime, you could tell us about this one and what it is.
This is work from a photographer named Kent Rogowski, who I've worked with for several years. I also have an art gallery on Spring Street between Elizabeth and Bowery, and 20 by 200 was an outgrowth of my experiences there, of wanting more people like me to start collecting. And Kent has had a solo show at the gallery and has had several editions on the site. So, you know, he, and those are all the editions that he's done with us. And again, kind of going back to the business model, we know that we can find 200 people who are interested in the art at any given time, so we can sell them for $20 each. And we also know that there are going to be people who are excited about supporting an artist or really love the work, so we also offer editions at larger sizes as well, so that people can kind of work their way up the ladder as they get more confident.
How do you choose your artists?
Well, I have sort of a big network through the gallery. I've had the gallery for almost 7 years now, and we do a photo competition, which is where I connect with a lot of photographers. But then some of my artists I've found in museums, at art fairs. I find a lot of artists on the internet, which makes me different than a lot of other gallerists. But it's actually kind of a favorite of mine is to discover someone online and make their editions available to everyone who's just been kind of collecting the images.
And you've got well-known as well as emerging artists on the site. For example, I think you have some a couple of works by William Wegman available right now. Why would somebody that well-known sell works for $20 through you?
Well, the better-known artists who work with us, they really believe in what we're doing. They believe in the mission, which is making art more accessible to more people. And I mean, William Wegman in particular was really excited that people who have loved his work for years and years but have been essentially priced out of the market are able to now collect original works of art by him. And so
and also I would say that going back to your example of the Medicis, there's something actually kind of amazing about making a significant amount of money from hundreds of people rather than from one individual. And that, I believe that that's actually something that's really empowering for the artists and makes them less dependent upon a system that's quite small, and, and I've existed in that system for a long time, but I believe that, they can coexist together. And so for Wegman or for the Starn twins, who we've worked with as well, it's this idea that a lot of people get to own their work who have never been able to before, but also it's a much more distributed base of support.
What are we looking at right now? Let's bring up this next slide.
This is Christian Shez. He is another artist who I've worked with pretty widely, who's had a gallery exhibition, and it's actually an interesting play on the earlier conversations that were happening on the show this evening of the editions that we showed in the gallery were quite expensive, and the fact that we have $50 prints available and $500 prints available on the website have done nothing to diminish the interest in the gallery prints. In fact, it's only sort of, again, broadened the audience for the work, and when the show was up, the fact that we released editions that were for $50 at the same time that we were releasing these much more expensive editions, it only increased the amount of interest that people had in the work.
And let's bring up another slide. Let's see one more. You want to tell us about this, Jonathan? And why 20 by 200? Why not 50 by 500 or 30 by 300?
Well, actually, we do 50 by 500 as well.
Okay.
So, and 500 by 50, and there's several different combinations that we work with. This is an artist named George Colombo, who is best known now for the New Yorker covers that he's done. You might recognize the style. He's done 3 of them, and the New Yorker actually discovered him because of 20 by 200, because someone at the New Yorker saw his work on our site, and he has actually now been featured by Steve Jobs in the iPad announcement because he uses brushes to draw these on his iPhone.
Wow, how about that? So now, via Skype, let's bring in artist Claire Grill. Her work is on 20 by 200. She depends on the web to make her known and to make her rent. Hi, Claire. Welcome to the program.
Hi.
So how'd you get hooked up with 20 by 200?
They contacted me about a year ago. I believe after they had sent out a request to their Twitter followers. Yay, internet. And some of their followers had recommended that they produce prints of my work, so here we are.
Here we go. Do you find that your work is more well known now as a result of being on 20 by 200?
I would have to say, yeah. I have a show up right now, my first solo show at New York, or at Jen Beckman's gallery in New York, and I've certainly gotten a lot of email from strangers, which is really exciting.
And maybe a little scary. Let's show a few examples of your work, which we have. Let's go to the first one. Claire, can you describe this?
Sure. This is a painting called Assignment. A brief overview, I should mention, a lot of my work is about the beliefs and stories and traditions that are handed down to us and how they become complicated and changed through the years. This piece is about art assignments when you're little and how it's a strange thing to be assigned to be creative, and how the creative act really is in the mark making, not in the picture.
Let's go to the next picture. So
Great.
If that one's assignment, what's this? Do we have it yet? Cake.
Cake. This is called Cake. This is about wishing and believing.
As cake is. It looks very fattening, so we better move on to one more slide of yours, which I believe is called Overachievers.
That's right. This is called The Overachievers. And this is a painting of kids working really hard at making something.
And there you go. Okay. So what else do you do to distribute your work?
Well, I have gathered a network of people interested in my work just through the years. I I've been pretty lucky to have had some people blog about my work, which I think is one of the ways that Jen learned about me. And yeah, and just through my artist friends. I went to graduate school at Pratt Institute and have a really great network of artist friends here in New York.
So, Jen, this is using the web for distribution of art.
Yes.
As well as for a business model.
Yes. And I mean, actually, the last painting that she showed, Overachievers, that was also the postcard image for the show when it opened. And someone bought the original painting after seeing the print released as an edition through the mailing list. So again, it's that model of sort of trickle up instead of trickle down.
And Jonathan, you wrote a book, co-wrote a book, which came out last year from the Free Press, called Art/Work, Everything You Need to Know and Do as You Pursue Your Art Career.
Mm-hmm.
How does 20 by 200 relate to the themes of your book?
Well, I mean, the same things that motivated me to write the book, which were essentially caring about artists and wanting to do something that would help artists out and provide information for them that is hard to find and not always getting to artists in the way it should. The same motivation drove me to want to work with Jen, because I really believe in what we're doing, and the whole mission of the company it's not just making art available to everyone, it's supporting artists as we do it. And a lot of similar...
Well, I was just going to ask, because we only have 30 seconds left. Do you have a sense of who your customers are? Are you really spreading art to the people?
I have to say, it's amazing. Actually, like, we have events and people. What I love about it is it's not. I say it's not art for everyone else. It really is art for everyone. So when you go to an event of art collectors, it's a lot of people who say to me, "I never thought that I'd be able to collect art before." And then it's also people who've been collectors for years who are also participating and excited about the breadth that they get to see on the site.
Well, it's great stuff. Good luck to all of you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
And that's it for this week's show. We're here live Wednesday nights at 7:30 or anytime online at brianlehrer.tv. Next week, the web as sweatshop. And tune in to my daily radio show, 10 a.m. on WNYC. Tomorrow morning, life in the New York suburbs, politics too. That's 10 a.m. on WNYC 93.9 FM and AM 820. Have a great night.